Megan, between community members, organizers, and families of victims in the August 4th, 2019 shooting, they all called today a celebration of life, but also a time for change. And as things wrapped up here in the Oregon District just a little bit ago, tonight was about healing as a community.
Louise Oglesby.
Louise Oglesby. We cannot let their names be forgotten.
Tonight, members of the Dayton community are coming together in remembrance of the 9 victims in the Oregon District mass shooting.
I'm sorry to see that tragedy had to happen, but it has brought people out in the forefront. It has shown that people care and love, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Thomas McNichols!
Thomas McNichols!
Residents say 5th Street became a safe space for comfort, healing, and a social bond with those affected, either through song, chants, or prayer.
Let's pray.
We, get to hear stories, get to hear from families, and be able to relate to, what they went through and be here to support them. So today's important.
Families of the 9 victims say today's discussions and grieving are positive, yet coming back to the scene remains difficult.
This is an every day, every second for me. Losing your child is unimaginable in this way.
Mike Turner says his son Logan was in the Oregon District 2 years ago to celebrate his late birthday. And last week, he would have turned 32.
I drove 6 hours to be here. It's been hard for me to stand in the spot where Logan was killed. It's hard for me to talk about it, especially today. It just warms my heart.
However, Turner says he'll never be done healing and will never stop grieving the loss of his son. He wants continued discussion, including meeting the shooter's family face-to-face.
I challenged Bellbrook High School to release the information they know will help. I wish the Supreme Court of Ohio would have understood the lawsuit that was put against them. I'd like to go see them and show them my heartfelt need for this.
It was echoed throughout the evening by Dion Green, who lost his father, Derek Fudge, in the shooting, but also from Turner and other families that an event like this doesn't go away overnight, and they say every day, every week, every year, we must continue remembering all of those affected here by the Oregon District mass shooting. Reporting in Dayton, Bennett Wise, Dayton 24/7 Now News. Megan and Adam, meeting and seeing some of the newest U.S. citizens was truly incredible. It was the emotion, the smiles, it was the deep sigh of relief from 25 different people from 20 different countries, knowing that after years of legal processes and varying life experiences that they are finally U.S. citizens.
I'm excited, and I hope that I be, a good citizen for this country, and God bless America.
After living in the U.S. for a minimum of 5 years, filling out countless stacks of paperwork and tests, 25 people from 20 different countries are U.S. citizens.
With liberty and justice for all.
This is the Constitution in action, and when the new citizens start this ceremony, they're not a citizen. At the end of the ceremony, they are a citizen. It's very powerful.
Teaming up with the Dayton Dragons, Judge Newman says it's democracy mixed with America's pastime. But it was a dream in the making for Padram Falajeh, who originally came to the U.S. from Iran to get a master's degree. After his sponsoring company went out of business, he had to get a job and find other income to pay for school and provide for his wife and son.
For me, I feel that I love this country more than the person who born over here, because the person who born over here, they didn't have choice, they born here. But I select to stay and, work and, became citizen here.
For these citizens, the pandemic delayed the proceedings by a year, but it added to the success for Tarek Feronia, who graduated in May with a mechanical engineering degree from Wright State.
There's a lot of jobs, or within the field that I like, that requires to have a U.S. citizenship. So that would be, honestly, my main priority is getting that job.
Feronia said this allows him the freedom to travel. Before, he would have to apply for a visa. Now, he can apply for an American passport.
Just going to Spain, going to Europe in general. I'm a big fan of soccer, and I would just love to watch Barcelona one day play. And everything is coming true, I guess.
Another other parts of this is that many of the people didn't even know that the naturalization ceremony was taking place in the middle of this baseball game. They were just told to come to Day Air Ballpark at a certain time. And Megan and Adam and multiple of the people that I talked to, they said having it during the middle of the game only made it more memorable. Reporting in Dayton, Bennett Wise, Dayton 24/7 Now News. Adam and Megan, the jury met for about 3 hours tonight before handing over their decision to the judge, and Victor Santana was found guilty on 4 counts of murder and 4 counts of felonious assault. He was acquitted on 1 charge of felonious assault of Jason Gibson, who was the only living witness to the murder. And with the decision, prosecutors saying, quote, "This feels like a good outcome."
This case was a hard case just because of the nature, the tragedy of the loss of life.
Guilty.
65-year-old Victor Santana being found guilty tonight in the murder of 17-year-olds Javier Harrison and Devin Henderson. Santana shot and killed the victims in a garage detached from his home in August of 2019.
In the day and age that we're in and the types of things that are going on around this country, it feels good to be able to look that family in the face and say, in this community, the community did the right thing.
The trial lasting 3 days with the only living witness to the murder testifying yesterday. While today, Santana's sister and niece taking the stand saying he was family-oriented and peaceful. The judge asking that we not share their identities.
That he would go to work, he would go home, he would go to the library. You know, I mean, he wasn't in places where you would think like big crowds. You know, he would go to the park here and there, you know, he sometimes would go to the homeless shelters, you know, and volunteer.
Santana's family and defense attorney declined to comment after the verdict, but prosecutors say the law was clear.
Mr. Santana had a duty to retreat. He did not do that. Instead, we ended up with 2 dead teenagers, and that's tragic.
One of the victims' parents says he's thankful for the verdict and how prosecutors and jurors handled the case.
And I just feel relieved. It's a couple weights up off of me, you know, and probably for the family, you know, but at the end of the day, we still ain't gonna have him here. You know what I'm saying? My son's still gonna be gone.
A judge will decide on sentencing at Santana's next court appearance on December 20th. He faces 36 years to life in prison on murder and gun specification charges. Reporting in Dayton, Bennett Wise, Dayton 24/7 Now News. Well, Megan and Adam, I'm off South Limestone Street on the south side of Springfield, where the closest grocery store is more than 2 miles away. Well, that is until tomorrow when Groceryland opens its doors for the first time to the public.
In the soft opening, it's business as usual.
A year and a half after Kroger left 1822 South Limestone Street, a Springfield doctor and his business partner are drying up the area's food desert.
As a doctor, I know unhealthy food kind of brings so many chronic diseases, and providing this sort of community healthy, fresh food that would help them not only with their daily nutrition, but with their health.
Tomorrow morning marks a soft opening of the new grocery store that was initially scheduled to open in mid-November. However, supply chain and employment issues is pushing the grand opening back to December 20th. But employment won't be an issue. Groceryland hired 68 employees, 8 more than initially planned, and has 35 pending applications.
Everybody started to flowing in, and online job board, and they didn't even work as much. The word of mouth was really great.
It's an investment into the local economy, residents' health, and future projects leading into downtown Springfield.
We needed an opportunity like this to come along, and they stepped right in the gap very quickly and have invested, well over $1 million to make this happen in a short amount of time.
6 months to be exact, turning an old Kroger into Groceryland. And maybe even 6 months from now?
In the future, I'm hoping to get health care. I want to open a small clinic in this building or next to this building and provide also healthcare services on this side of town.
There certainly seems to be a lot of excitement, and I'd say in the last few hours, about 20 cars have driven up, taken a look inside, seen the note on the window that it opens up tomorrow at 7 a.m. for a soft opening. We have additional details on our website, Dayton247now.com. Just find this story on the homepage. Reporting in Springfield, Bennett Wise, Dayton 24/7 Now News. Megan, videos on the popular social media app TikTok are labeling tomorrow, December 17th, National Shoot Up Your School Day. At this time, districts and law enforcement are insisting these threats are not local or credible.
even though it's social media and be taking it as a joke, the more it spreads, or if you actually show up trying to do a challenge, it could really affect the rest of your lives, especially if they're younger people.
School districts from around the Miami Valley sending notices to parents regarding a troubling new national trend on TikTok, threatening violence on school grounds.
It's something that's turning into a much bigger deal than I think students realize it is. So obviously, we get a threat that's a national threat that just says, hey, I hear this is going on. One of our school districts has actually seen a video on TikTok talking about it.
Centerville, Springfield, Huber Heights, and Northmont are just some in a wave of schools on high alert. All districts are increasing security measures in conjunction with area police.
As new social media platforms pop up, that there could be someone in another country thinking of these challenges, sending them to the United States, something that you do now could affect the rest of their lives.
Sheriff Streck says at this point in middle and high schoolers' lives, they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, even for sharing and reposting threats.
The days of taking you home and telling your mom and dad, you better tell Junior to calm down, are over. You could be prosecuted, misdemeanor charges, felony charges, when you get into certain types of inducing panic.
Law enforcement says communication between parents and children is a must, even if it means having to monitor children while on social media.
The problem is you never know what one person is going to think it is. There could be 10,000 people that look at it and laugh it off and think nothing of it, but the problem is when one person takes it serious and decides that they're going to act on it.
TikTok is removing videos showcasing the threats, and in a statement via Twitter, the company said, quote, "We handle even rumored threats with utmost seriousness, which is why we're working with law enforcement to look into warnings about potential violence at schools, even though we have not found evidence of such threats originating or spreading via TikTok." Sheriff Streck says if you or your child see what looks to be a threat, report it to your school district and law enforcement immediately. Megan? Pete Kasuji. You've probably heard him on the radio, and it's a name that's hard to forget. And if you meet the avid storyteller in person, he probably won't let you. His name has become synonymous nationally with bonsai, which are these small trees fostered to look fully grown. And this one in particular helps him cope with an unwavering loss.
Every time I come in the morning, this is the first place I go. I look at my plants and I take a quick walk around. They're my energy.
A bonsai tree expert, Pete Kasuji took to the Eastern Asian tradition through a neighborhood friend on Proctor Street, where Sinclair Community College sits today, and where his family of Greek immigrants moved from Brooklyn, New York, and preached hard work from a young age.
If we misbehaved, her favorite words were, She'd roll that spanking tool,
That discipline led Pete to start working at age 6 and continued through his time at Central High School, where he met the love of his life, Shirley.
Somehow or other, the two of us knew that we were to be together. We knew it.
The two married in March of 1953, and 10 years and 2 kids later, the North Dayton Garden Center was born.
We maintained. We showed family life when we needed to. We showed business life when we needed to. And usually Dad was the head of the business.
Over the years, the family business changed locations and went through changes both positive and negative, including September 19, 2019, just after 8 p.m. Pete had just gotten home and called to Shirley in another room.
That wasn't a bedroom, it was just her room. Walked towards me and dropped dead in front of me without a word.
Shirley died of a heart attack. She was 82.
I grabbed her, hugged her, I cried like a baby for just a few seconds. I said, for God's sake, I call somebody.
Paramedics tried resuscitation for over an hour. Nothing worked. All he had was over 66 years of memories.
I got no chance to say goodbye to her, to hear her voice one more time.
Pete turned his sorrow into soil by working harder, using his 11-hour, 7-day-a-week schedule to cope without Shirley.
I'd come to work, I'd work like the devil, twice as hard to try to get it off my mind, but it wouldn't work.
That's why his love for bonsai and the 2 trees they started in 1963 will always remain, as a reminder of their continuous love.
Every day, I say, hi, honey. And another day, here I am. I told you I'd never let you down.
Pete turns 87 in a few months and says he doesn't want to stop working because he doesn't want to sit around and do nothing. He loves his work and his wife, which is why he goes and visits her grave every Sunday after his 11-hour day to talk to her. Reporting in North Dayton, Bennett Wise, Dayton 24/7 Now News. This may look like another Grafton Hill home with 106-year-old wood and metal and original steps, but this is actually a fulfilled promise between a young builder and its 95-year-old former owner.
It meant a lot to me to be able to keep that promise to Rui.
It was an unlikely friendship with 95-year-old Rui Hodap and a young builder, John Kinlaw. In 2019, Hodap was driving in St. Anne's Hill and saw Kinlaw's crew on a project, walked in the front door, and struck up a conversation.
I was so lucky to find John. I saw him working over in St. Anne's district, and I went back every 2 or 3 weeks, and I saw he was working right there with his people. He wasn't just, watching.
Hodap returned to the St. Anne's site a few days later, encouraging Kinlaw to look at his property, and then came a proposal. Hodap would sell his 106-year-old home to Kinlaw for a reasonable price if he promised not to flip or wholesale it once finished.
When they look at this house, they say, oh, I got to talk to my contractor, see what it's going to cost me. I knew he figured it up himself.
The house needed work, and a lot of it. The ceilings and floors damaged heavily by years of water from the attic down to the basement. But Kinlaw knew he wanted to keep it as original as possible.
We like to incorporate as many original items, and we also spice it up with some new additions as well. But I really love the fact that we were able to save the original floors and the mantels and the doorknobs.
All aspects that put a smile on Hodap's face when he saw the finished product for the first time tonight.
Really nice.
He loves this property. He raised a family here, and it was clearly very important to him when he put it into the purchase agreement that I couldn't sell it until I fixed it. I'm not going to sell it. This property has become just as important to me as I believe it is for him.
Instead, Kinlaw will begin renting the duplex by the end of the year because he says that someone's word is more valuable than any currency. Reporting in Dayton, Bennett Wise, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
When you inject mRNA inside the cell...
17-year-old Yash Agarwal didn't spend his summer playing video games or working, but instead volunteering at COVID-19 vaccine clinics in Dayton Children's Hospital. The son of 2 doctors, Yash saw the effects of the pandemic firsthand, being separated from his extended family in India.
I had family members get hospitalized. They're in the ICU for weeks. There were shortages of beds, and they all wanted to get vaccinated.
He signed up to volunteer for his first clinic in late May and experienced high volume. But through June, he saw fewer shots in arms, and that's when he ramped up his efforts.
I made brochures, just information brochures, and I started distributing them. And then, I started contacting organizations, churches, and it was very difficult because this has become a very political issue.
He contacted more than 50 businesses, organizations, and churches about giving a presentation on the COVID-19 vaccine. All declined or didn't respond, except for one.
When I first got the call, I said to myself, what can he say? What can he say that I haven't already said? He a young individual.
Bishop Bennett says he's been preaching COVID-19 safety and the importance of vaccination throughout the pandemic with only mild success, and realized having a different perspective come in might change minds. And it worked. Some people in his congregation got vaccinated the same week.
Every church, every pastor should consider allowing him to come. Every business should consider allowing him to come. If he presents it to them, I guarantee there'll be some people that walk away and will go get vaccinated.
We have the opportunity to get vaccinated. We have the choice. That's a choice that so many countries don't have and so many people wish they did have.